Proportional Response. Book 1. Chapter 26, Part 5, No Rest for the Heroes. Kazla sat and tried to project an appearance of calm. No? Not surprised. Nope, not at all. Not like the two Zoltans on the other side of this table, particularly not the one who needs to pick his lower jaw up off the floor, nor the rebel leader who just got told he'd be getting human aid rather than paying reparations. Mendesh finally spoke. Thank you, Ambassador Archer. Since you are soon to be Prime Minister, I will take on faith that you can make what you say true for the wider council vote. Henry's hand trembled slightly at Mendesh's words, but he gave no further sign of distress. I will not make statements here as to votes that haven't happened yet. Suffice it to say that, regardless of who ends up behind the lectern, Kaz tried not to react to Henry's pointed glance. I do hope that they will see the wisdom of that course of action. Kaz gave him a lopsided grin, raised one eyebrow and nodded. Henry continued. I think that covers reparations and the acceptance of your surrender, does it not? Mendesh nodded. Kaz had only a moment's warning when Henry tapped his boot and then stood. The Zoltans stood immediately behind them and stood with subservient postures. Very good. The Confederated Worlds will be sending a team of negotiators to speak with your own negotiators to work on details of what we have discussed. That said, this video recording, with its council hash, will serve as the signature of both parties. There will likely be a few details, both in terms of demands and concessions, that will come into play before the process is complete, and there will be negotiations in the council as well to make sure that what you are surrendering goes, first and foremost, to those placed into slavery under the guise of indentureship. But the agreement here is sufficient for a declaration and acceptance of surrender. Mendesh and the other Zoltan bowed. Then Mendesh and Henry shook hands and both took a step back to look at one another. If Kaz hadn't been specifically watching for it, he'd have missed it. The other Zoltan made a small motion with two of his fingers, and Mendesh let out a long sigh. The recording devices are off, ambassadors. There is no need for the cameras to watch you leave. Henry's eyes narrowed. Good. Now, about those demands and concessions I mentioned, I think there is something else you, on a semi-personal level, wish to ask of the Human Confederation. Or is it a request of me personally? Mendesh looked taken aback for a moment, but recovered fast. Kaz felt his respect for the man increase a notch at that, as the Zoltan spoke. There is the matter of the bodies of the voters killed in the final battle, and the prisoner status of those who survived. Since you did not bring the matter up, as we expected you to do, it falls on me to make a request of you, of your kind, in regards to them. Please, take them, as you put forth in your original declaration of war. Put the voters on trial in council or human courts. It is a deep insult and great shame to a voter to be handed over to their enemies, particularly when they consider those enemies their inferiors. So, on those grounds alone, we would want you to take them. There is also the problem, however, which you mentioned, that they have terribly warped our entire culture for generations. Giving them anything that approached a fair trial would be impossible. Any court they walked into would already be decided, either for or against them, before they even entered. We will allow that the situation won't be much better with you and your kind. Henry interrupted with a nod. But, you know you won't be risking them going free. No, it is more than that. Any voter who walks free from a Sultan court will result in riots and anarchy. Any voter who is convicted in a Sultan court will face quiet reprisals from unexpected corners. However, if they are all turned over as a condition of your surrender, then what happens to them is completely outside the control of your fledgling government, and you have a lot more both time and wiggle room to take hold of the narrative. Mendesh nodded, but the other man answered. Indeed, there are some things you can do in terms of the trials to help us control that narrative, including televising the trials, dragging them out, and presenting all of the evidence of each voter's misdeeds at the trials. It will also help if you do not hold too many of the trials at once, and make sure that some of the few voters who don't actually deserve to be punished are in either the second or third round of trials. Kaz poured everyone some more juice, while they all sat down and began to work out details of mass grave burials and the trials of the voters. It took longer than he would have expected, but not as long as he feared it might. With that settled, they took their leave and headed back down to the planet. You will do your duty to humanity, Henry, as you always have. I have faith in you and... Henry cut the president of the Human Confederation off with a snarl. Don't feed me that line of crap. I told you when I took this post that I would keep it until we removed the Altons from the Prime Minister's position, or I became too old to keep it up, whichever came first. Then I get to retire. Eldia felt the hairs on her arms bristle as the woman rolled her eyes. Sure, Henry, you retire. You will go stir crazy within a month, 2 at the outside, and be stumping yourself in for public office within 6. And even if you don't, someone else will come around and find a way to push you back into the political arena. You are just far too damned good at it, and you know it. People like you, people like us, don't get to retire. Not really. So I order. Henry leaned forward and got a dangerous look on his face. Eldia felt her hands twitch with a desire to do violence to this woman who pushed her gentle Henry that far. Be very careful, Madam President, about what you try to order me to do. I know the laws and the limits very damned well. I helped write a number of them, and I will— The woman cut him off, leaned back in her seat, and made a face like she'd just bit into something far too bitter for her liking. Yes, I know. I also know that you have done everything you can for humanity for so long now. I have dedicated everything I have to humanity's welfare since before your grandmother was in diapers. I have lost count the number of times my life should have ended. This fiasco with Jalat's invasion is just the latest. I have given enough. I have nothing more to give, and I will not. To quote one of your own favorites, madam, if nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve. And, mark my words, I will not. I have kept this beautiful woman next to me, waiting for her ring for 2 years. And that won't wait either. You wanted to talk about optics. What do you think the optics of that will be? Sure, there will be some who celebrate it as an act of unity, others who will call us out for engineering that particular reaction, and others who— Henry shook her head, and Eldia gave him a small smile as he took her hand and glanced at her. No, I will not do that to her. I will not do it to myself, and I will not do it to our relationship. I went on that spaceship. I brokered the surrender. And I am done. You cannot refuse to accept my resignation, and you know it. We are no longer at war. I am not a soldier, and you don't have the right. The human president kept a passive face through Henry's words. Then she quirked a half smile at him. You once told me of your youth, when you were in sports, and angry with your coach, because he would put you in races too close together, and you couldn't catch your wind to do the best you could to the second race. You said that you tried to throw the first race a couple of times, to save your strength for the second race, and to anger the coach into giving you what you wanted, just once, and you couldn't. When that buzzer sounded, you were off the starting block and going full tilt. Henry's face darkened. That was a sport, and the thrill of the race. This is totally different. You will do what is necessary as you always have. You want me to be careful of my orders? Very well, I have an order for you. Do everything you can to advance the cause and welfare of sapient life in general and humanity in particular. This is a charge I can give you, and it is one I expect you to carry out. The woman's face softened. Henry, I'm sorry. I really am. But humanity needs this. Hell, the League needs this. You are probably the biggest cross-species hero this League has ever had, and the biggest hero humanity has had in generations. There are already statues that have gone up in your honor on nearly every human world, and on more non-human worlds than I would have believed even a month ago. And those are just the rapid printed things. We need you, we all— Can it? She shook her head again, and Eldia gripped Henry's hand tightly. You are not alone, my love. Never again will you be alone. If this devil woman talks you into walking back into the fire, I will stand beside you every step of the way. If we go ahead as you planned, I will leave this place on your arm, and with my head held high, despite what anyone may say. She tried to convey this through her touch, and must have had some success, because she saw some tension come out of Henry's shoulders as that woman spoke over him again. I'm sorry, Henry. Again? No, that is not what I'm trying to get at now. She heaved a loud sigh, shook her head, and Eldia could visibly see the woman drop her masks to look at Henry with an apologetic expression. I don't want this for you, Henry. I know you are tired, and I, of all people, know how much you have given. On a personal level, I still believe that if you do walk away now, and something happens you could have prevented, you may never forgive yourself. That said, I insist, because I have to. It is what needs to happen, what must happen, and some part of you knows it. I do love you, Henry, as a father figure, and as a dear friend. I hope I have not damaged that friendship beyond repair, and know that it hurts me to do this to you. But, if that is the price I have to pay, this is necessary, Henry, it is. That craven bitch. Eldia wanted to reach through the projection and claw the woman's eyes out. Henry's shoulders had dropped by fractions as she spoke, and so had his chin. She continued, I'm sorry, Henry. I am. Don't answer, please. There is little either of us can say now that won't injure us both. Please understand I do this, because I know it is the best course for humanity and the League. I'm sorry. Good night. Tears fell from Henry's eyes, but he sat there, still and silent, staring at the space where the projection had been. It took Eldia some time to lead him to bed and more to soothe him to sleep.